to Transcendental Transformation, the place where spirituality and transformation unite. Host Miss Raina imparts truth so that you can break through your limiting beliefs and evolve into a deeper consciousness. As you go about your day, remember, before every breakthrough, there is a breakdown. And now, let's start the show.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Transcendental Transformation. I'm your host, Miss Raina, and with me is my co-host, James.
Hey, good evening.
Well, today is Tuesday, December 10th, 2019, and as always, we're coming live from the Sirius Star System studios here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I hope everyone has had an amazing week. What did you guys do? I want to hear about it. Put it in the email, and yeah, we'll talk about it. But man, I am exhausted, and I haven't even told James this. I am so tired because this week has been on the go nonstop. I have had several games, Friday night softball, then I had football practice, and then I was on the go. And then Sunday I had a tournament, but it was a nice tournament because it was Toys for Tots. And so we raise, we do the softball and everyone brings toys and stuff for kids in needs, and it's always a good time.
No injuries?
No injuries this time. At least for me. There was a few people that got injured.
Oh, there were some, but not you.
Yeah, but not me. I was like, come on, it would be nice because it's been my luck lately. The last, I don't know how many tournaments I've had. It seems like I've been pulling something or getting hurt some way, shape, or form. But yeah, I'm exhausted. Like today, yesterday I didn't do anything. I just sat around all day. Good. Today I was like, maybe tomorrow I'll get up and do something. But
I do that on Sundays pretty much. It's the seventh day and I rest.
Yeah. How was your week, Ben?
It was good. I mean, like Christmas is like so close. I did a little bit of shopping. I'm not really into that.
Okay.
I tend to just do it all at once, so I did most of that.
Yeah.
It's
hectic. It is.
You can feel the urgency in people's like driving and things. I mean, they're okay, but you can just feel it.
Yeah.
Seem like.
I wonder, one of my things that I always wonder is, would Christmas be as popular today if it didn't involve gifts? I mean, and how would that change? Because I don't celebrate Christmas, I celebrate Yule, but I know that this country is predominantly Christian or Catholic, and so it's a big population of Christmas. But imagine, like, look at all the people, what we do, like, we have to, during this time, like you said.
Oh God, it's an obligation. Yeah. Well, it started in the old days with just a stocking, right? You'd leave cookies for St. Nick or whatever.
Different
and you'd
traditions.
Get a stocking with some pecans in it or something.
Well, Christmas, that's not Christmas though.
Cane.
That was Russian, thing. But Christmas has nothing, like most of the stuff that we think is Christmas, like a tree, the stocking, Santa Claus, reindeer and stuff, aren't Christmas at all and have nothing to do with it. That all comes from, paganism. It all comes from Russia. It comes from Celtic traditions. It comes from so many Druid. It comes from so many different types of traditions. But we always associate everything with Christmas. But I think it's important for people to know what we're really, because people get so mad all the time, and we go out and get gifts, and we think that's what Christmas is about. But or at least this time of year,
it's also a measurement of our economy. I mean, it's a critical weekend. Like
it is.
The Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all that.
Yeah. This
year, I think we're doing real well. Or so the numbers say,
Yeah, absolutely. But before we get into today's show, I got a little treat. Do you know what this is?
Oh, I need to find out if those are on back order or not.
So this is, and let me see if I can get it without the light. This is a book written by my co-host, James, right here. It is called World Thoughts, Life, Love.
Words.
Words. Sorry, it was the glare. And let me. Did I say words? No, I have. Actually, I read this thing many times over. Yes, I have. I even texted you a few days ago too, and I read some more. And I'm not into poetry, but this is really good. And I'm not just saying that because people who know me know I wouldn't just say I would be like, James, your book stinks.
I needed an honest opinion. I knew she'd be honest. So.
Yeah, it really was. There was several poems in here and several pieces, writings in here that actually brought me to tears. And I was actually shocked because, I realized, we've known each other for a short time and we talk and we hang out, but this really gets to know who you are.
Yeah, the parts of me, that I feel that I can put into words.
Yeah,
See. But anyway, I think it's on Amazon, but maybe back order. I need to see about getting some.
I gotta say that I love the old picture though.
Yeah.
You look so young.
It's like I felt old back then. Now I feel young.
Yeah,
so right. I'm aging in reverse, but my body doesn't seem to understand that.
But yeah, I know that I know you have a copy of it on Amazon ebook because I think you're looking at it. I don't know if they have hard copies, but a lot of times. But I'm telling you, people, seriously, especially if you're into poetry and you like writings and you like all the haikus and all that stuff. I couldn't tell you what half these verses are. All I know is I liked them and I enjoyed them. So
it's just a mix of different styles and stuff that over the years. A lot of it was back when I was younger, and then a few more recent. But then that was like 9 years or 10 years back. So there's some more stuff that I'm working on. Probably about a year I'll have it already.
Okay, well that's good. So make sure you go out and buy it because this man's awesome. So, all right. So last week what we did was we talked about crop circles, UFOs, the Ark of the Covenant, time travel, all sorts of things. And we were talking about basically unexplained mysteries of Earth and the universe. And we are going to continue that because there was a bunch of stuff that we didn't get to talk about, like curses, spirits, ghosts, reincarnation, different things. And I know these are kind of taboo topics and we really haven't really brought these type of topics onto the show like this because it's been more about spirituality and healing and help, but I like to change things up a lot of times, and I think that last week it was kind of fun to talk about different things that made us question life and what's going on.
Like, is it just our mind playing tricks, or have these things really happened?
Yes.
Are they legends? How many are documented? I mean, it's really hard to tell.
Yes.
Until you have some kind of experience yourself, which I'm sure most of us have had something that's completely unexplained.
Yes, and I know we have, and we'll get into some of that stuff in a minute. But one of the things that we talked about just for a brief second, but we really didn't go into it, was Black Mountain, and that's in Australia. And this is so, and the reason why I want to talk about this again is because I find this absolutely fascinating. This mountain. I know you did some research on it, but this is a huge hotspot. If you like UFO activity or like claims of UFO activity, this is a hotspot. And what sucks is because I have Caleb, who's my protege down there, and he's off running around with a girl right now. And if you know how little boys get with he's gonna hate that I call him a little boy, but you know how young men get with but you have a chance to be there, and a lot of people, even the local legends, say a lot of...
Yeah, well, the Aborigines, there was a big battle there back in the day.
Oh, okay.
And they said the bones are still there. They're even scared. And so at that point in time when they clashed, I think they agreed, like, it was such a terrible battle or whatever, that they should never go back.
Wow.
Just honor the ancestors and keep it that way. And they believe the spirits are down to the mountain. They also believe there's lions, tigers, snakes that guard this entranceway.
Wow. Because
there's all these caravans and caverns that go down into the mountain.
Yeah,
it's wild.
I did a little research on that, and I heard about the caverns down there, and they think there's like almost like a whole city down there. And people always say that they see lights coming in and out and just like flying up into the sky, and they hear noises, and and we mentioned this last week that animals disappear, cattle, horses, and stuff, and it just kind of, and even hikers and people go.
Yeah, there was a group, I forgot what year it was, back 1877. There was a group of settlers that actually had wandered in there, and they never saw them again. They don't know for certain what happened, but back then maybe the Aborigines and who knows. Again,
absolutely.
There was a recent exploration where this guy went around 2006 or so, and they could hear weird noises, and they walked around. They got spooked. They went into a couple of the caverns and said, "This goes forever. We're gonna have to regroup and come back." So it's worth more exploration. They found a lot of times where, similar to the Bermuda Triangle, where you got the magnetic flux
Yes.
and interference.
Correct.
They said it happens around these mountains, but around Black Mountain, it's a lot stronger than any of the other mountains in that area.
Yes, yes.
So that's kind of interesting too. So there's proof that something's going on metaphysically, with electromagnetic energy and all. So it's definitely, who knows? What's unexplained.
Well, which is nice because it kind of opens that part of the mind that makes you want to question things, because at least for me, I can't speak for a lot of people, but at least for me, it's like I couldn't imagine just believing in one thing and thinking that that's the only way of life that is around here. And to me, whether it's true or not, and we're going to get into a bunch of things in a minute, that may not be true, that are maybe just stories and everything like that, but are legends. But I think it's fascinating just to kind of spark the mind and spark the soul to question things. And that's one of the reasons why I want to talk a little bit about Black Mountain again, because I felt that it was just so... it just had so much energy to it and so much uniqueness that I think that it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, so what I want to talk about right away is getting into, because one of the topics that we were talking about is curses, and this is actually our next subject. And it's funny because curses is like, is it really a thing? And me personally, I don't believe in curses. I'll put that right out there. I really don't. But it's still fascinating because there's so many stories of things going on that make things interesting. Especially like I study ancient Egyptian culture and just the way of life, and a bunch of different cultures too as well. And but one of the first things that I wanted to talk about with people is actually the curse of King Tut. And the reason why I found this fascinating is, one, because I'm a huge, like I said, ancient Egyptian fan, but I love the story of King Tut. And even though, the idea of King Tut, a young boy who now we're finding out, had a bunch of health problems and died when he was young and 19 and everything. They had to bury him really fast, and they're finding out all sorts of new things. And they found that they said that the tomb that he was originally supposed to be at was not, because he died so fast, wasn't finished, and they had to make a new tomb for him. And that and they think that they stuck him in a different tomb. But anyways, that was meant for someone else. But anyways, what ended up happening was that the curse was supposed to be and this is, ancient Egyptian folklore, is that anytime you disturb, a king or queen's tomb or a pharaoh's tomb, you're cursed. And what I found fascinating about this, because we have the notes on this, and I'll let James, kind of talk about that in a second, but it just seems that, I guess in 1922, a bunch of archaeologists found these items and removed a bunch of things, and I guess, what was it, 5 or 6 people, or was it not? How many people were in there?
Yeah, there was 6, I think. They all died with different things. One of the guys had a mosquito bite, and his turned to blood poisoning.
Yeah, I heard about that. I think his name was George Herbert, from what I'm pulling up. And, I think that's because that was one of the things that they were saying, that King Tut, or Tutankhamun, got, I guess, during one of his illnesses and stuff, was poisoned. I guess that was a big thing back then.
Yeah. There was another where the guy had... someone gave him a bracelet that they found or something. He brought it home, and then he ended up, it had a cobra on it, and I think the cobra ended up coming into his house and killing him.
Oh, wow.
Why would a cobra come into your house?
And cobras are asps, Egyptian asps.
Right.
I'm trying to say that without swearing. That are well known throughout Egypt. That was one of their main symbols of power, and that was the snake. And so that's fascinating that they took a bracelet and
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. What else you got for me?
That's the main thing that I had for King Tut, I think.
Well, this is what we have to do. So we're looking at this, and so, when you have, I think when I'm looking at, you have 9 people, and I guess one of them had a mysterious illness, fell victim to a fiery disaster at the house. Another one, it seemed like, I guess, you said that the cobra was there. And I guess it's just funny to me that so many people, have these ideas of these things happening, and it really triggers the ideas: is curses a really a thing, or is it actually, or is it actually created by our own thoughts?
Right, right. Or is it just legend? I mean, how much proof? There's so much urban myths and stories and things that happen that are just unexplained, and you could read on these things for the rest of your life until, like, in a little while, we're going to tell our own stories, right? Or stories that we know from others.
Yes.
But it's definitely, this one was a curse, so it's very well known. There's actually written, anybody who comes in here is cursed.
Yes, absolutely. And, and does that set into mind something that happens? Because, you have, a famous tale of, if you touch Pharaoh's possessions, which are supposed to be taken into the afterlife, where, does this actually, is there actual such things as curses? Because, I've studied things. I've been around the world, or bunch of different countries. I've been around a bunch of different places, and one of the things that I've noticed is, we all have different traditions basically where we're at. And when we have these ideas that are in our mind, that something's going to attack us, kind of like karma. We think karma is, if you kind of think of it, we think karma is this thing that's out to get us. Well, yeah, you did this, well, karma's going to get you. And it's kind of like that same thing. Well, if you do this, then this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of, and that's where it kind of, it's kind of shapes.
Well, what makes a curse so powerful is the belief that the curse exists.
Yes.
Who knows, on a subconscious level, that we set up our own accidents to happen, and it's related in a certain way, because things are all related.
Yeah.
So maybe it's your own expectations on a subconscious level that's creating some of these dire consequences.
It could be.
Including hauntings. Like, if you're expecting to see a ghost, you'll probably see one. If you're waiting for a weird noise or a knock, it'll probably happen.
Yes. And it could very well be, because we are starting to understand that when something is created by our mind, that we can create a reality. Even if it's not true, we can create a reality into our own little universe. So if me and James go to, let's say, King Tut's tomb, find this, see a thing, and I don't believe in curses at all, and he does, it would be really funny to see that if actually one thing happens to someone that believes
that would be
in it or not.
That would be a good research project.
Yeah. Well, let's go do it.
I don't know if I believe in them or not.
Yeah.
I think I believe in the power of belief.
Yeah.
And I would say, curses can be in a hypnotic way.
Yeah.
Who knows from past lives, that you're in this life, so something could be going on there. From a karma point of view, there is a relationship.
That's true. True.
Things like that. We don't understand the real program that's running. We just know we're getting closer and closer to identifying things, that can happen. And it's always at a quantum level based on the observer and things like that. So, and the belief of the outcome, the intentions.
That's true. Well, you have also, I think we were doing research on Rasputin too, right? Was it Rasputin that we did?
Yeah. Well, the story of that, he was like the wizard and the magician and a great seducer of women, and the Romanovs ended up hating him.
Yeah.
He was one of the considered royalty and all as well, and there's a lot of jealousy there. So he was very difficult to kill. I think he fell down the stairs. He had to be shot. He was beaten. They finally ended up getting him killed. But before he died, he said, "Your whole family's going to be cursed."
Wow.
And within that year, I think almost all of them ended up dying from different things.
Wow, it
was a genocide or some war going on or whatever, but they were gone.
Wow, and those are the type of things that make you wonder, because is someone's words that powerful? I don't believe in coincidences, but at the same time, I don't believe in curses. But that makes you wonder, because if someone sits there and says, "Well, your whole family's going to die within a year," and then all of a sudden the whole family dies in a year, that's kind of makes your head scratch, you know. I mean, was he really, you know, are humans more powerful than we really, you know, give ourselves credit for? Or, you know, or maybe something else was set up in motion that he already knew about. I mean, if he's this master manipulator, maybe he set into events into motion that he knew that they would.
Yeah,
You know?
probably so. Probably. He planted a seed, and that can be very powerful, you know, especially if it's on the negative side. You know, sometimes people, based out of fear, becomes like a magnet or something.
But if I tell someone they're going to die within a year, I mean, is it really that powerful of a person where someone's going to die? I mean, that's
if you were about to die and that was your dying words.
Yeah. Well, I know. I meant like if I said this, if I sat there and I said to someone, "Oh, well, you're going to die within a year."
Oh no, probably not.
And that, I mean, and that's the point that I was getting to. You know, so. You know, so I kind of am iffy when people say, well, you know, words are that powerful because, you know, people say a lot of things out of anger and they don't come true, you know.
But if you shoot the person and those are his last words, it's going to probably sink in.
It might, or some maybe didn't care, or maybe disease was running rampant, or you know, we don't know the situation of how the Romanovs died, or you know, and I mean when we were doing when we were looking up King Tut and everything, and we were looking up all the people. It was explaining what was happening, but with the Romanovs, and we were talking about curses and everything, it really didn't tell how they died or what they died of, or if they died, you know, together, or if they died kind of, you know, in a specific order or something. So we really don't know. But we do know that back in the days, you know, people didn't live long. You know, there was disease, there was injuries, there was,
good point.
You know, there was, you got a bacteria infection, boom, gone.
Yeah.
You know, so.
There was a lot of superstition, too.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
So anything and everything was possible. They believed so many things.
Absolutely.
And there was a lot more magic and wizardry and just different philosophies, religion, perversions, good and bad, you know, things going on. So.
Yeah. But I think you know, when it comes to the idea of curses, then we have to look at the power and the structure of the words and really what's behind it. Because I mean, I know a lot of people. I have a lot of friends that are pagans and witches and into voodoo and everything like that. And I don't judge what people do. I'm friends with everybody, and as long as they're not going out killing people or you know doing some you know really awful actions, I really do. Whatever you're into, that's what you're into. But you know, that's one of the things that I've noticed that in certain cultures are very, you know, very prevalent, is that the idea of something coming out to get you, and it becomes almost bigger than the idea itself. That you know, I mean, we think of a God that's going to punish us. We think of karma that's going to punish us. We think of curses that are going to take us down. And it seems like we've developed into a culture that kind of thinks there's always something out to get us. Well, yeah, death is coming to get
again. It's because of history. I mean, there's been so much, and we're in a time where, at least in our area of the country, in different developed countries, it is safer. People are living longer. They have a lot more in their mind. They're spending their time, you know, daydreaming and learning about things that we, in the old days, you never had a chance to learn.
True.
So we expect the worst because our history has brought us that.
But I mean, the same thing, you know, I mean, we're repeating our history constantly.
Because we're focusing on that. We're not focusing on what we're doing. We're focusing on the past or avoiding something or fearing it.
I think it's more ignorance, you know. I think it's more human ignorance. I think we're such a society, at least our society currently, from what I observe, I just think we're a society of ignorance. And I don't mean that people are stupid. What I mean is we choose to be ignorant because we don't want to deal with it. You know, and we won't talk about what happened. Like, everyone knows that in Florida, the UPS thing, right? Mm-hmm. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't. No.
See, my point.
I don't watch the news all the time.
My point. No, it did. You didn't have to watch the news because what happened down here, and we won't get. This will be a totally different subject on another show, but just to kind of make what the point I was making is that you know, a few days ago, I guess a couple guys hijacked a UPS truck, and the cops chased it down. I think it was down in Miramar. I don't remember. Maybe it was Miami-Dade. I don't remember. But anyways, they chased it, and the UPS truck ran into traffic. And what the cops did is they kind of surrounded a little bit, and then the people who hijacked the truck fired a couple shots, and all of a sudden the cops decide, with hostages inside the thing, just unloaded like 200 rounds. I mean, they lit up this UPS truck like Swiss cheese. And they also, when the guys were firing back after they started unloading, because the guys started firing back, they hid behind civilian cars with people in it, and people got killed. And we don't hear about that because, one, people don't want to, it was something to hear for like a day, and then now it's like, oh, no,
that's why
shush.
I probably didn't catch it, because it
was huge. It was like,
Wow.
They did everything wrong as police
but...
officers, and you're trained for that. And so that's what I'm saying is we become a society of if we don't like what we feel, and then we gotta just kind of push it.
Yeah, see, this may be an example of something that could actually have been filtered out. Because I usually see the headlines, at least 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, and this wasn't on there.
And it's sad.
In the local headlines, I didn't see that on the UPS. That's kind of something to think about. I mean, that's an unexplained event.
No, it is. But I mean,
it's a big event, but why wasn't it visible?
Well, it was on social media for a very short time, but most of the news places didn't cover it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and on social media, I don't get on there much. Just at time to time,
And what's sad is one of the news people that caught it actually.
That's
huge. They showed the video, and they showed the driver getting killed, and he fell out. The blood was coming out. It was pretty horrific.
What about the hostages that were inside the truck?
That's what I'm saying. They got shot and killed.
You're kidding.
They didn't care about the civilians around them. They didn't care about they didn't care about the hostages. The moment one person fired 2 rounds, and that all the cops around just lit up it had like over 200 bullet holes in the thing, and the guy was like, I'm in here, and they shot him in the head, and it's just sad. But anyways,
that's like a movie or something.
It is, and this is for another time. We'll talk about that because I don't want to get on that topic. I'm a little emotional about that because innocent lives are lost over there. But okay, so let's take a break, and we are going to get into spirits and also reincarnation and all sorts of good stuff after this. All right, we'll be right back after these messages from the life of Raina.
A message from the life of Raina. We live in a world faced with many tough challenges. Our lives become chaotic and filled with disaster ever so quickly, most of the time before we even realize. Our issues beat down our mental mindset, and an imbalance of emotions become prevalent. The life of Raina is dedicated to helping people on the deepest spiritual level. Miss Raina, the creator of Transcendental Development and Growth, works on your core issues and finds the solutions which allow you to break free from the emotional bondages of life, helping you achieve the life you've always wanted to live. Isn't it time that you lived life for you? Call the Life of Raina, 561-846-2190, and schedule your appointment today. That's 561-846-2190. Or email thelifeofraina@icloud.com.
All right, everybody, we are back. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Miss Raina and James on Transcendental Transformation, and we were just talking about curses. And now we're going to switch subjects a little bit to spirits and ghosts because I hate the word ghost. It sounds cliche. It sounds kind of, like movie-ish and stuff like that. I really like the term spirits because that's what we are. We're spirits. This is another fascinating subject. I think that a lot of people, because I've had personal experiences, and we'll get into that. Have you ever had experiences with any encounters of
things that were completely unexplained?
Like what? Tell me.
Once I was in a room. I had just moved to this house, and maybe a week or two, and then it was kind of empty. So you notice everything.
Yeah.
There was not as much furniture and stuff. It just seemed like the energy was open. So that was a good thing, I thought. But I'm sitting here in a room, and the light was on, just a regular lamp, I believe, right here on the table. And it went off, and it's almost as if someone clicked the switch. In fact, I thought I heard it click, and I go over there and look, and the switch was still up. but the light had gone out.
Wow.
So I went and jiggled the switch. It was kind of like it had a short or something in it, but it clicked. And I was thinking maybe it was a fuse, but it wasn't. It came right back on.
Oh,
I had
wow.
to turn it off and then on. And I sat back down, and as I'm starting to sit down, it did it again. So I'm like, oh, whatever. And I clicked it. And I was like, this needs to be like whatever, straightened out. I said, stay on. And I sat back down, and I was like, why did it do that? I said, okay, maybe it's a ghost. And I said, if it does it again, then it's got to be a ghost. And I just went like this. I said, okay. And then it clicked, and it went off, and I froze. I thought that I would not be scared, and I froze, and I could feel almost like a voice. It was more like
an energy or a presence,
like someone right here going, "You want proof?" And it's like right here, and it's
like that's eerie too. That's like, ooh.
I was so scared I couldn't even like stand up or move. I was like, so anyway, it took about another minute or two before and then I turned my light back on, and that was it. It was almost like after that, I was like, okay,
all right, I got this.
It's like the energy just cleared. It just went, everything was okay. The light never acted up again. But then about 2 weeks later, the bulb did go out. So,
but that's
straight. I mean, how would the light?
Different.
And that was one of the big ones. Except when I was a kid with my brothers, another good story.
Well, that's one of the things that I think people want to do is, one, I think it's very healthy to have healthy skepticism, like just enough where it's not too crazy, where you're trying to debunk everything, because there are times where doors get caught by wind. There are times when things short out. You have electrical stuff, and so it's good to not think because I have friends that think everything's a ghost or a spirit or something.
I was looking for proof, and I got it. So that's all I'm saying. You're looking for it, it's there.
It's like, oh my God, see the thing moved. It's like, oh, there's a ghost right there.
Of course, you're gonna see stuff. I mean, our minds create a lot.
But I think that's amazing because, a lot of times is being a medium myself is one of the things that people, when I used to teach mediumship and when I used to help people try to learn to have a connection, especially most of the people that came to me that wanted to be taught how to do mediumship were usually people who lost someone that wanted to connect to somebody. And so one of the things that I would tell people is don't be expecting it. Like, don't try too hard, because that's when you try too hard, especially in the spiritual realm, it's when everything gets shut down because you're over trying.
Desperation.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize that. You sound like you were just like, okay, like you kind of really didn't believe it, but you were lax enough to be like, okay.
Yeah.
And you were open to it. And
I really believed. I said, okay, this is like it called my bluff. I was trying to call its bluff, and it showed me. It's like, if this is a ghost, then the light's gonna have to. It's just gonna have to. I was like, bam. Yeah. So it's kind of that feeling of knowing.
Yeah.
Your belief, and your expectation make things manifest, whether it's unexplained or explained.
Yes. And you know what the thing is that I'm gonna debunk something right away, because as a medium who's have seen spirits her whole life and still does to this day, there are no such things as demons. There are no such things as evil and hurting spirits out there. The way we understand spirits is so off, and movies trick us into thinking that there's these things, like especially like Annabella and Amityville Horror, like, oh, based on a real story. You guys they're exaggerating everything to the millionth degree. And so they may take where the person was like having like doors open and then all of a sudden now there's something coming out, and they make it into a movie because no one's going to watch, and I'm telling you, no one has ever been killed by a spirit or a ghost, because that would be the most ridiculous thing ever. If you truly understood what is over there, then you would understand that there's no way that anything could hurt us over here. There's laws against that. So with that being said,
that's a good point.
I think that I grew up in a house that was that had spirits, I would say. It was in Chicago. It was the house that I was first born into and grew up with and everything, and it was an old nursing home for the Civil War vets. My parents bought it, made it into a three apartment place where we lived up on the top floor. We had some stairs, 2 apartments down here, and then we had the basement. Well, right away, I mean, as far as I can remember, before even after Lori came to me and everything like that, there was always a couple people that I would always see. So I would always see a man in a red robe. and that my mom would always see a guy and like kind of dressed in 40s with the top hats that they had, or
Mm-hmm.
you know, the hats that they used to wear in the 40s. But I used to also have a lady that always used to come to me too, and I would be playing in, you know, my toy chest or doing something, and I would feel someone walk up to me behind me, and I would just bury my head because I didn't know what it was at the time. And you know, when you don't know, you fear things, right?
Yeah. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
fear of the unknown.
and kind of like how you were like, oh gee, like, okay, I have my proof.
Yeah. It was just the mysterious power that it was. It's a powerful thing, but it was not hurtful. It just said, "You want proof? Here it is."
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And it's funny because I was so scared growing up in this house, and I would tell my babysitters, I would tell my mom, and my sister would laugh at me. Everybody laughed at me, like, "Oh, it's just your imagination." No, I'm sorry, but when I'm playing with my toys in the downstairs basement and I see a guy in a red robe walk across the thing just like normal, I am not imagining that. Especially when I see him several times, and same with the But people used to say that there was a presence in the house, and you could feel it with such warmth. As scary as it was, people would say, you know, to my mom and my dad all the time, you know, when I walk into the house, I feel like something's protecting us. Like if someone was chasing me and fires a gun and I jump past, you know, the door, that would, like, the bullet would stop at the door and fall down. Like that's how powerful it was. And still to this day, our cousins live there, and I guess they have things going on all the time too.
So did you ever get any messages from them, or
no?
it was just saw things.
Just always saw them. Just always had the presence. They always let me know that they were there. If I got too scared, they would understand that if I got too scared, because I always had this one move where I'd bury my head into the toys and just be like, I just until they left, and I would feel them walk away.
Yeah, isn't that wild? Yeah.
And then it would be maybe a couple weeks before they would come back, but they slowly. But once I started talking to Lori, when Lori started visiting me when I was about 2 years old, and which is one of the guides I work with, that's when I didn't become afraid of what I was seeing anymore, because I kind of started understanding that they're not there to hurt me.
Right. In other words, it becomes an intellectual thing versus an emotional thing.
Yes. And that's why I say
kind of
education.
It's kind of how you have to deal with things like that. You can't get too into it, because your fear of the unknown it can basically make you have a heart attack. You know, people have been scared to death.
Yes.
And there was probably nothing there.
Yes. Well,
you know,
people have, because they don't know. You watch, like, I grew up like you did, right? Watching Night of the Living Dead, Freddy Krueger, right? Jason, and especially things that can constantly come and get you, right? And so what are you going to expect when you're in a situation where you don't know what it is, and all you have to go, the brain's going to associate, oh wait, I saw this before. It doesn't realize you saw it in a movie, and it's
that's true.
Fiction.
Yeah.
You know, or it's, you know. And,
right.
Yeah, so.
It could be a memory already, and you're just replaying part of it, even the fear, but because it's happening in your life at that same time, you think it's real, it feels real. You know, maybe you do see something. It wasn't probably there to scare you more than it was just to show its presence, or maybe it's another dimension that happens to sometimes bleed over into ours.
Well, exactly.
It's just part of the...
And that's what I want to tell you guys, is that our dimensions intertwine.
Yeah.
There is no separation. And right now, we are sitting through the other side. Every time you drive, walk, even right now, I'm going through another dimension. We just can't see it and feel it because our vibrational level is so low compared to them. It's like how we go through air. It's like we go through air. We know it's there. We can kind of feel it, but... So we're constantly bleeding over into things. And if you learn to not fear it and pay attention to things will pick up for you.
Yeah.
If you're into that.
You kind of realize that, like, you're here no matter what.
Yes.
And you're still the observer.
Yes.
And the creator.
Yes.
There's going to be things that come, you know.
Yes.
Little, small, medium, boring, exciting, scary, everything.
Yeah.
It's just, this is it.
Yeah.
It just is. So... You can't control it. You can observe it. You can try to understand it, but you can't fight it more than you can just
true.
let it be. You can't you can't battle darkness or battle a ghost,
Well, but
or
you
scare
can't.
the ghost away, or if the ghost leaves, it's probably because
No, actually, that's actually misinformation right there.
Oh, okay.
You can, because of the laws we have. There are laws here that protect us from if we feel uncomfortable. As I was saying, when I was a child, when they would come up and they would realize I was scared, they would leave because I would literally say in my head, go away, because I didn't know what it was. And
right.
so
well, you're not scaring them. It's not like they're a demon. You're scaring them.
No,
they're leaving out of respect for you.
Well, but even if, like I said, there are no such things as demons or evil spirits or anything like that. But even if there were, you have the power, because of the laws that we created over here specifically, says that if at all, the moment you say, I don't want you here, to anybody, even your spirit guides, your family, whatever, they have to leave. They have to walk away. And the reason for that is because they understand that we're at a different level, in a different place, spiritually, when we're over there than over here.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because when we come over here, we're dumb, right? We don't know anything. We're learning. Even if you live 10,000 lives, every single life is like living it for the first time, right?
Yeah.
So you're learning everything over. And over there, you already have that information. So we are going to be scared. We are fearful of death, right? Every lifetime. But we die. We've died thousands of times before, right?
Right.
So why are we afraid of it? If we've gone through it.
Yeah.
It's the same rule.
Yeah. It's fear of the unknown. We know it, but it's been erased.
Yes.
It's maybe in part of your makeup, but it's within your soul, and it's hard to access. Maybe through meditation and things you can get.
Yeah. You want to hear a cool ghost story. When I grew up in Chicago, when we moved out from the city into the suburbs, there was a town called Willowbrook, and it's one of the most famous ghost stories, not just in our country, but in the world. People come from all over the world, and it's called Resurrection Mary. And I know some of you from Chicago that are listening, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Resurrection Mary was this girl and it's so famous. And what happened was, I think it was in 1920 something. I can't remember the exact date. When in 1920 something, she was at this, and the hall is still there. The place, it's still like a dance hall, reception hall, and everything like that. But the name has changed, and I forgot what the name was. But now it's called like Willowbrook Dance Inn or something like that. They host like country line dancing stuff all the time. But what happened was, so I guess they were having a prom there or whatever, and she got in a fight with her boyfriend, and she stormed out. She got so mad, she stormed out. And shortly, right after she walked out, a guy in the car hit her and killed her. So her family went to pick her up, saw that she was lying on the ground dead and everything, grieved. They buried her in Resurrection Cemetery, which is several miles down. The story goes, and they actually have photos of all of this, and so I'm not lying, and I would never lie to you anyways. But the story goes that she, down this path called Archer Avenue, which I used to go down all the time because I always wanted to see if I could find her. But she only appears to men, so to speak, so I was kind of out of luck there. But there were several occasions in the 30s where guys would be traveling down the road and they would see a girl in white, and it could be in the wintertime, in the summertime, and she was still in that dress that she was in. They would pick her up, and people have sworn by this.
Okay.
And take her to her house and drop her off. One guy came back the next day and said, hey, I wanted to make sure that your daughter was okay. And they would have like this look on their face. What are you talking about? I picked up your daughter and dropped her off. Our daughter's been dead for 10 years.
Yeah.
And there's bars on Resurrection. They actually had to there was so much traffic going to there that they have these bars, like where the gates are for the cemeteries, that actually had burn prints inside of it. Inside the steel, and you could actually see the fingers. And when you put your fingers on there, they actually line up with your fingers.
Isn't that wild?
And they can't explain it, because one day it was there, one day it's not. And in the 30s, they didn't have the technology to do that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's similar to the lady of White Rock Lake in Dallas.
Oh, which one is that?
It was similar to that. There was a lady, I think she drowned, like suicide or something.
Oh, wow.
And they said you'd see her waiting for a ride or something sometimes. And there was actually a cab driver. There's actually a couple of times, I think, where they would pick her up and she'd get in the back, and then when they go to the residence, she would say, "Bring me here," and they turn around and look, she's not there, but the seats were wet and there was water on the floorboard. It's very famous.
Wow.
Ghost. We went driving around one night, and I thought I saw a woman. Again, this is through your expectations. I thought I saw someone walking this way. Ooh. And then when I looked, it's like... You
could very well have.
And then I was with my wife at the time, and I said, "Look, she's there." And then she goes, "Ah," and she screamed or something, and it went away. Because maybe she got scared. Maybe as soon as you get scared, it leaves. Yeah. I don't know. Well, like you said, they don't want to... You're asking it to leave if you're completely
not just that, but
frightened, right?
But you ever notice how you see things out your peripheral vision?
Yeah, it isn't for certain.
Because the reason why that is because our peripheral vision is done by our subconscious. Mm-hmm. Our focus vision is done by our conscious brain. Okay. And so a lot of times our peripheral vision is able to see higher vibrations because we're not paying attention to it. That's why we always see something out the corner of our eye. And 99.9% of the time, you're actually seeing what you're actually seeing. It's just because when you focus on it, your conscious vision brings your energy back down to our level of vibration, and you lose it.
That's like me backing out of my driveway. It was dark. This was on the way here. I'm backing up, and I'm like going, there could be someone on the sidewalk, and I wouldn't see him. And I said, but my truck will beep because it has the little camera thing. Yeah. And I said, well, if there was someone there, it would beep. And I told myself that, and I said, something told me there's a kid there on the sidewalk. But I kept going. I said, it's not beeping. And you know what? Right over here was a black cat. So there was a black cat that went right close to my tires as I'm backing out. And I hesitated because I could feel there was something there. So that could be the peripheral. It could just be my awareness.
It could.
With the third eye thing. I think it's a little bit of both.
It could be
because I couldn't really see the black cat. There was no light over here. That's why I was. But I could definitely feel, and I've done that before. Another time was a dog.
Oh wow!
About like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So there's something there in your awareness.
It is, and if you pay attention to it, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
awareness.
And I love the fact that you brought up a black cat because we were talking about curses, and people think black cats are curses. Number 13 is curses. I mean, buildings don't even label the 13th, and I love 13. My number has been 13 in softball.
I've heard that was taken out for because it's a powerful number.
Yeah,
it was taken out because of the power that it has.
But if you actually study numerology and ideas like that, 7 and 13 are two of the most powerful numbers that they do, along with 1. I know you guys are going to be 1 and zeros and stuff like that. I know. But 13 is very powerful. I'm not a numerologist, so I couldn't get into all the numbers and everything like that, but I think it's funny that when people see, like, even the football thing, they had a black cat that ran on the football field, and then the team lost, and they're like, that's the cat, see? That's the curse of the black cat. These black cats, man.
People are mean to them, too. I mean, kids will be mean to the black cat. They're cool, though.
They are. But, I mean, that's kind of the idea of what we're talking about today.
The fear of the unknown and the fear of, the belief in curses and legends and stories and all this. It's part of this is we were born from our ancestors that also had these same beliefs and fears. Probably.
Yes.
Even especially about something like a black cat or a snake, just because it's black or whatever. A snake in general.
Well, do you walk under a ladder?
Yeah. Well, there's not that many around, but I've done it before. Nothing happened.
but when you were a kid, you probably wouldn't do it, right?
Yeah, but when I was a kid and they say don't walk under the ladder because it's bad luck, I'd say it's bad luck because there's pain up there, there's a painter, there's all kinds of stuff like it can fall on you. So I was like,
don't step on a crack.
Yeah. So what does it mean bad luck? It does mean there's more probability because I saw physical evidence. It is bad luck to walk. Walk under a ladder. Sooner or later, something's gonna fall.
Well, but you're looking at the statistics.
Yeah, I was looking at it very analytically. I always did.
You should be what are the guys, the insurance guys that
Yeah.
go over your life and be like, well, let's see if you're a risk.
Yeah.
But that's the funny thing about it is you have these ideas of curses, spirits, ghosts, all these things that are, and like, you don't go under a ladder because 7 years bad luck. Don't break a mirror. If you say Bloody Mary 3 times to a mirror, she's gonna come out.
Oh, we did that. We scared ourselves.
Yeah.
We're 8 and 9 years old.
Oh, really?
My 2 friends, it was 3 of us. We turned off the lights and you say, I believe in Mary Magdalene.
Yeah. Was it Mary Magdalene?
For us it was.
Oh.
And I swear it was green hair coming up to the mirror, and we got so scared the light came on, and it went away as soon as someone screamed or whatever.
Yeah.
It definitely had.
Wow.
But again, it was like a chant, like I believe in Mary, and you say it over and over for like a minute or two, and you're expecting to see a ghost in the mirror.
Oh.
It's got to be pitch black when you do it.
Oh, your eyes.
So you will see something,
scrying. You're scrying. Your eyes, your brain will project.
Yeah, that's
objects onto there.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that all 3 of us saw the exact same thing.
Oh wow!
So when you're doing that, so there's a connection between us 3. Even
but that is interesting. Or maybe you guys raised your energy enough to see from the other side, and but ours was Bloody Mary, and so it wasn't. So ours was about this girl who was supposed to kill. It was actually from Queen Mary, and that's how the original story went. I guess there was a queen in England, and she just like killing people, like beheading people left and right, and so they nicknamed her Bloody Mary. And I forgot. I think she died the same way, or she died really horrific too. But that's how the story went. And so now, if you say her name 3 times in a mirror, she's supposed to come out and kill you. And it's like, come on, people! Like as kids, it's funny, but as adults, it's like, come on! It's like we got to get over some of this stuff.
I think so.
Yeah.
In other words, it would be cool if you could say it and not get scared and see what's there.
Yeah.
Like from an analytical point of view. I think with practice you might could.
You know what I like to do to train my brain and to help me make that connection, here's a little secret, and I know this is scary for some, but I actually like to turn off all the lights in my room. I shut my door, and I turn off all lights, and I have like 1 or 2 candles on, and I watch the flickering on the light on the ceiling, and I stare off into space, and I stare at it and stare at it and stare until my eyes, and actually I get visions from it. I actually learn to develop my connection. I sometimes will go into a deep meditation for 30 minutes, an hour, whatever, and it helps my mind develop that connection and keep that connection, especially for people that are into wanting to talk to the other side, or or anything, just kind of having that connection that developed. But actually that helps me, and just 1 or 2 candles, nothing big, just dim enough to where you can kind of see the flicker, and it actually triggers something in your mind.
You have to relax. You have to also relax your eyes too, right?
Yeah, yes.
If you're staring too hard, you may not see a thing because you're still here in this physical. You have to kind of go into this, not a dream state, but just this semi-relaxed, meditative state where your thoughts are actually dormant in the back.
Yes.
And you're just here and watching.
Yes, absolutely.
And you'll get messages, and they'll be usually quiet and slow and gentle. You're not going to have anything screaming at you, probably.
No.
You can hear a strong voice, but it's not going to be anger. It's not going to be fear. It's going to be more of a soft, like the way your heart would speak to your.
People have such a. I think one of the biggest frustrations in the job that I do is always debunking what people have learned and trying to retrain and reteach people the truth about our world, because it's much more fun to believe that there's things chasing us and there's things that go bump in the night, and the most evil things that go bump in the night are us humans. It's true. If anything's going to kill you, it's going to be another human. It's not going to be some evil spirit that sucks you up through the trees and all they find is your shoe. That doesn't happen. And but it's I think if people really look at curses, spirits, ghosts, and all these different things, I think that you realize that once we kind of mature, we're going through this evolutionary maturity thing where I think we got to start leaving some of these the silliness behind.
In other words, it's a scientific explanation, but it's also a spiritual connection going on.
Yes.
I mean, science is about to approach the spiritual side of, you know, the
Yes.
unexplained. It's explaining the unexplained.
Yes, it is.
It's crazy how you know, they're learning more and more, and so we have to learn with it. We're no longer sheltered. The information's there. It is. You just gotta, you know, ask for it, and it'll show itself.
Yeah. So, but you know, and that's kind of the idea of everything. And you know, talking about King Tut's curse, and you know, Rasputin, and I think we had a few other ones.
Queen Mary, we were going to talk about.
Yeah,
we
had
could talk some other time.
Yeah, we'll talk about another show and stuff like that. But yeah, Queen Mary's show, I mean, that had a lot of people that died in it in really messed up ways. And, you know, and there's just so many things that happen in our world. And it's intriguing because I think even though I know as a medium and as a guide, I know the truth about how our world works, there's still a lot that a lot of people need to develop and understand. And then all these things start to make sense. And you're like, well, it's not, you know, something out there punishing you. It's not this unstoppable force. It's, you know, and these things are planned, actually.
Right. And people will prey on your ignorance and your fear.
Yes, they will.
I mean, look at the psychic world. Nothing against.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
There's lots of good ones, but there's lots.
I agree.
Okay.
Trust me, you ain't offending me because you ain't offending me.
How much money is made? Oh,
yes.
We got to protect you. We got to cleanse you.
Yes.
We got to cleanse your house.
Yes.
You got these evil spirits that are just hanging over you, and they live on your roof.
Yes.
Or they're in your bathtub, or what? No, you know what I mean? Like.
No, I do. But you know what? Real quick, not to cut you off, but to add to that is when I did my work, when people would call me, how I would answer the phone is if you're calling for a mediumship or a psychic reading, don't tell me anything, just tell me the date that you wanted or the dates that you want. Don't give me any information. They would tell me the dates, and I would give them a number, like an actual number, like 584, and that would be their number that they would call in with, and they would come in when they came to my house. I would want no information. See. No, because if someone gives me their birthday, well, if I know that they're Leo, well, I know they're this, and I'm labeled. Yeah. That's not me being psychic. That's me having knowledge.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think people, as a psychic, they're already sending out those messages. You're just picking it up.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, that's what being a psychic is.
Yeah.
You're picking up information from them. Yeah, absolutely.
Through telepathy, basically.
Yeah.
Our minds are connected more than we realize, and some people's minds are more open.
Yeah.
So they're easy to pick up.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's interesting, don't you say?
Next week.
Yes. Next week.
Queen Mary or more?
No. I think we'll hold off on this. I think we've had enough of the unexplained mysteries for 2 weeks. I think what we should do is we should talk about the value of our mind, like our mindset and how our words project and create what we.
The power of words.
Yeah, and not so mean manifesting, but I mean talk about like how how we're talking about curses, saying something, then creating that in our world, and actually having things fill out that way, and then actually believing that it's true because it's not.
Yeah. Right. It's true.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, that's tonight's show. Hope you guys enjoyed it and everything, and I think we're gonna do maybe this weekend. We're gonna do a couple things on Patreon. Maybe we're gonna take, because I noticed a couple of you guys wrote on here and sent some messages and some emails and stuff, and so James and I will probably get together this weekend, do a couple small private shows on Patreon. So make sure you check us out on our Facebook at facebook.com/Transcendental Transformation. Check us out on our YouTube with the same link. Periscope also, Transcendental Transformation. And don't forget to hit us up on Twitch at twitch.tv/Transcendental Transform 13. So anything?
Sounds good.
Yes,
just hope everyone is hanging in there for the holidays. Don't worry, it's only a few more days. We'll get through this.
Yes, we will. And
it's
I'm
supposed
tired.
to be happy.
I'm tired.
This is the happiest time of the year. I think.
It should be all year.
It is.
But all right, guys. Always remember to believe in yourself, and it's not our abilities or our talents that make us who we are, but it is our choices. Thank you, and have a wonderful night.
Good night.